Good morning. It is early. I have my cup of coffee ready to go. So, let's do a quick update before we jump into today's video. So, for today, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the first draft of Project DDD1. Yay! I finished the outline, so we're really happy about that. And I have been working on Twisting Fates. I lied when I said I wasn't going to work on it. I lied. But I've been working on that a little bit, so we're very happy about that as well. But for today's video, we're going to work on Project DDD1. So I thought I'd take you along with me as I get that started. What I want to do first before I even get that going is I want to clean up and rejuvenate my Scrivener a little bit, because you've seen how it looks currently and I like it, but I've recently done a little bit of rebranding, not rebranding, I guess you could call it, but I've kind of cleaned it up. I've leaned more towards my contemporary romance side, so I want my Scrivener to match that theme a little bit more. So I thought it'd be fun to first go through and clean that up a little bit, and I can show you how I do my Scrivener setup. And then after that, we can go and we'll actually start with the first draft. Some other things to mention before we jump in, so to speak. And again, I'm sorry if I'm scatterbrained. It is early in the morning and there's only so much editing that this footage is going to save. But I wanted to mention we've hit 100 subscribers here on YouTube. That's really exciting. Yay. Thank you guys for wanting to join me on this journey. So, welcome all of you. So, I wanted to shout that out real quick. I also wanted to know I have made several posts about it. I am at some point going to figure out streaming or whatnot so we could do like a fun, almost like co-working kind of stream, so that we can all just kind of hang out and work on our projects together kind of thing. I thought that'd be fun, but I have to figure out some more logistics on that and timing and a lot of other things. So I promise I have that in the works and that will be coming soon, but I'm also if I'm honest, I'm a little nervous to do streaming just because it's like I can edit the footage of this. I can edit the footage of what I do for YouTube for the most part. I edit my language on writing because that's what I can do. I can't edit myself live. So a little bit more nervous for that just because it's like, again, I am that way when it comes to speaking publicly. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But again, it is coming. I will be doing that here, hopefully in the near future. But I will keep you guys posted. I have, again, all my socials listed on here somewhere. So I'll have it announced somewhere, but I'll definitely put it in the notes for the community tab. So that will be definitely there when I do decide when to do that. But I thought I'd quickly shout those two things out because I know I'd mentioned both of them at some point relatively recently. So yeah, so let's go on with the rest of the video.
Hello. It is later in the day, as you can probably tell from the background, because I had to work today, and we are now going to look at starting the first draft of Project DDD. I recorded an entire, probably 10 minutes of this already, and then I realized that I didn't hit the button for my mic to turn on, so it was just silence on your end. Anyway, we're going to continue and pretend that didn't happen. So it is later in the day. I am done with work for the day, and I want to at least get started with Project DDD1, which this video will probably be throughout a couple of days of starting Project DDD1, but I wanted to go ahead and start because, as I mentioned previously, I have started playing around with some branding and stuff like that for my pen name, which is for my romances, Lee Creek, and I really like the color scheme that I have for that, so I kind of want to transfer that over a little bit to this because, as you can see over here, it's not quite the same. So I wanted to do some updating with that, and so I thought it would be kind of fun to just kind of do a quick tour in case you've not used Scrivener, just kind of like a quick how it looks while you're changing it and whatnot. And again, this is not like a how to do a new Scrivener thing. That's not this video. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of walk through this together, and I can just talk through my process a little bit, I guess. So as you can see, I've got my whole page here set up. This is for DDD1, and if you're familiar with Scrivener, again, I'm just relatively new to like using it full time. So Project TF, or what's now Twisting Fates, was the first book that I did start to finish on Scrivener. I had started the pen name project outside. I think I did it on like a Google Doc at first for that one. And then it turned into a Word document, and then I transferred it over to Scrivener. But Twisting Fates was the first one, start to finish, that I used Scrivener, and didn't play around with it too much. This one is the first one where I have also started from start to finish, hopefully, but I'm going to try and play around with it a little bit more. So the novel format that I used for this is just I think it was a novel with parts. I think that's the one that I selected for this. And then I saved a template where I basically used that as my baseline, and then I just added some of this other stuff myself. So I added a reference section so that I could have the story structures just for reference, a section for notes so that I could just kind of brainstorm and have a place to put that outside of just Notion, which I don't necessarily need that because again, I have Notion and that's where I do most of my like note taking, but I wanted to have it like as a backup. So all of that here I've got in case I want to have a place just to put my outlines and stuff like that. I have that here, but the main bulk of the book goes in basically the manuscript section here. I don't personally use these sections here as much, which I did have a section for beta reader feedback, which that part I probably will use, but because again, I'm using Scrivener for the first time all the way from start to finish with the Twisting Fates book. That's the first time I'm going to actually use that one, but I figured that would be helpful just to have a place to store all my feedback in one location, which again, some back and forth between here and Notion, but in terms of Scrivener, the book itself is here. With all that said, let's actually go through, and I'm going to also put my color palette over on the other screen just so I can remember, have it all in one place. Okay, so basically, as you have seen, you go down to options and then you go over to appearance. And I'm still not there's tons of videos I've seen out there of people actually going through like step by step by step. So I'm still like new to figuring out some of this, but like you can change your general color. You suck. But you can go and pick out your general colors, which I think for the most part, I'm still not as familiar with this, so you have to forgive me if I'm kind of clicking through at random. But you have different colors that you can put for a bunch of different things. So I wanted to go in and basically change that up a bit. So let's see, because notes is going to be over on this far right side over here, which I can't show you because it's not on notes right now. But I think I'm going to try just to see how I like it. I'm going to try that. And let's go over to, okay. So basically when you open this up, it's going to show like a couple different looks. So the one that honestly, I actually care about in terms of the look and the feel is this bar over here, the background here, and the notes section over here. So those are the ones I genuinely actually like aesthetically care about. So let's go. Oh yeah, corkboard is for that main view that we saw. So I think I want to try doing something pink. I'm in my pink era right now. So let's do corkboard background. So let's go back here and see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that changes that one. So we're going to go back. Oh, I don't want to compile anything yet. I don't have anything to compile. Binder background. Okay, so that's this color here. So I think what I want to try for this, just to see, is let's try that. Oh, I like that. I don't know. Is that a vibe? I think that's a vibe. Okay, what do you think? I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this other color, and then we're going to see which one I like better. So we got option A. Oh, that would have been more significant if I actually pasted anything. Come on. There we go. Apply. Oh, that's also a vibe. I think I'm going to go with the other one for the sole reason that I have another idea for that color of where I want to put that. So let's do, come on. There we go. Yeah. So that's going to be there. Let me go over here just so I can see, because these are the two ones that I need to really change now. So let's go back here. I know it would be so much more concise for you guys for if I were to be like, oh, and then you go to this exact place and do this exact thing, and this is exactly how you do it. But I'm chaotic. I don't remember things, so we're just gonna go off vibes and figure it out as we go. So I'm basically just looking at the color. Show me the colors. Corkboard, yeah, index cards. Is that it? Aha. Okay. So that's this background here. So we're going to try. I downloaded this one picture that I really would like to try for this because I think it would match the vibe. But where did I put it? That's the question. This was it? Let's try. Yeah, the thing with that I've noticed with Scrivener is you have to be very, very careful about like what picture you put as like the fixed background because it does this, which is like it replicates. So I don't think I want to do that. Let's see if I have any other ones that would match the vibe. How about this one? Let's try. I do like that, but again, I just don't like that like, ugh. Let's try again. Where did I put that picture? Because I have a picture. Oh, that's it. I do like that, but I don't like that's tricky. Because I mean, I like that look, but it's not going to match the vibe, if you know what I mean. Okay, we're going to come back to that one because now I need to get this guy fixed over here, but I don't remember what section it was. If you see it, call it out in the comments so I don't feel so stupid. I'm going to look stupid, but that's fine. We're all in this together. We're all just vibing. We're having fun. It's not that serious. It's just a book. It's just a book. It's what I do for a living, but again, this would be so much easier if I actually knew what I was doing ahead of time. But I don't. Absolute gremlin of a creature am I. Is it that? No, that's not. That can't be it. I know it's the notes. Where's the notes? It's not the notes background because that's notes. Where is it? I feel like I've gone absolutely crazy. Like, where is this thing? It's not. Yes, this is it. Okay. So for this is the one that I think for that color, I think I want to try. That's a vibe. I think that's a vibe. Because then if you go back to the manuscript, yeah, I think that's a vibe. Go back to the draft. Yeah, that's a vibe. That matches my colors that I'm going with. So it feels very much more like contemporary romance, which again, this is a spicy small town romance. So I feel like that's going to match a lot better. Now the problem though is we're going to have to go back and figure out what to do with that background, which I might have to do that off screen because I'm getting a signal I need to leave to go do something. So I will leave you guys here and I will just kind of skip forward to when I pick out the background for this and then we'll go on from there. So
Good morning again. Yes, I know last that you saw, it was just like a flash of, oh, I got to go do something. And then it ended up being a whole thing that took up most of the rest of the evening. And by the time I got back to writing, nothing happened. So update from that, I guess. So I did a quick little update to the Scrivener Outlook view, I guess. So I'll flash that on screen of the final product, so to speak. But I really like how it looks. I feel like it's a lot more cute and cozy, and I'm hoping it'll help create some cute vibes for when I actually am writing Project DDD, which that is now officially today. So today we are going to actually start writing Project DDD. Now, I have the outline, which I'd already told you guys that I wanted to have that mostly done by the time I actually started. So I have that done. I'm pretty happy with how it looked for the most part. I think it's going to be really fun and fluffy and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to just start doing, and that this is going to be the first step for today. I'm going to put in the scenes for all of the outlines. So I'm basically going to put the outline in place on there so that I know where it is. And then if you're familiar with Scrivener, it's basically a scene card, and you write the scene within that card. So basically the outline is going to be the details on the little out-facing part of the card, and then I go from there. So the first part of today is going to be putting all of the cards in place, so that way I have my full outline on Scrivener so I know what I'm writing, and then we actually get started with chapter 1. I'm going to be honest, I did a tiny bit of work on it recently for the actual first chapter, but it was, so my friends and I, we do every month, at the end of the month, we do this thing called hobby night. So everybody brings to whatever house we choose for that day. We pick a hobby, bring it to that person's house, and then we all just kind of collectively work on our hobbies together. Doesn't always end up being just that. Sometimes it's mostly talking and just hanging out. And sometimes it's, people do actually want to work on their hobbies, so they focus on that. Sometimes we just kind of forego with the hobbies and just kind of hang, watch TV or do whatever we want to do. So kind of depends. But on this one, I was very focused on, I really wanted to get at least started, because I had already like an idea of how I wanted to start the book out. So I started just kind of scribbling some of it down. So I do have just a little bit of it started, but it's on another thing. So I'm going to have to copy it over and like type it back out, because there are some parts of it I already want to fix. So, but I did do some work on that. So I'm going to also add that onto scenes and stuff like that. So sorry, I am so tired. It's another day, another dollar. It is what it is. So yeah, so for the rest of the video, it's just going to be me working on Project DDD. And again, this is the interesting part of us together collectively on YouTube, is that this is the first project from absolute start to finish that you and I are going to work on together. So I'm not really sure how interesting it is of me just purely filming myself writing and filming the screen basically, but I don't know. I need to do some more research on some stuff, but let me know in the comments if this is even remotely interesting, or if there's other... Excuse me? Can I help you? Okay. What is it you want then? Cats, am I right? Wants attention 1 second, the next second, no, too much attention. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to approach some of this. And I am excited. I know I probably seem kind of lethargic, but that's also because it's, early in the morning before I have to start with my full-time job. So I'm kind of squeezing in time where I can. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish everything before I actually have to start. So if you see time shifts in the clips, like if it's lighter 1 minute and then it's darker the next minute, that's why, is because I'm skipping between, getting some work done before I start with my shift and then getting work done after my shift. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, let us get started on Project DDD. Hello, and we are back. I have a very needy cat, if you can't tell, but we are at the end of the workday. Can you decide on a position, please? That would be lovely. I just work here. I just pay the bills, do all the needed stuff. There we go, baby. There you go. Now you can lay down. All right, there we go. Anyway, so we are done for the day. I've gotten some writing done, and it was a good day so far. It was a good first push. It was a good first push to finishing. I'm so tired. I have not, I'm going to, again, I feel like I've leveled with you guys a lot in this video already so far, but I'm going to level with you again. I'm exhausted, and I don't just mean like, oh, it's been I've been working today and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's been a busy couple of weeks. It's been a busy, well, dealing with cats being difficult. Do you want to say hi that bad? Want to say hi that bad? Okay. All right. We'll try this for a few minutes and see how long this lasts. So, not for you. Not for you. This is for Mama. Anyway, so today has just been kind of like the accumulation of a lot of other stuff that's been going on, and I'm just tired. You can probably tell how I look and how I've talked throughout the video. I've definitely been very discombobulated of trying to gather my thoughts and trying to put everything together and figure out what I want to say and what I want to do for this video, but I'm tired. Again, I have many jobs, so to speak, and there are so many exciting things. I want to talk about everything I have going on, but I physically can't because there's just so much. There's so many good things happening, and they're incredible, and I'm so excited to eventually talk about them, but I'm exhausted. And that's a bummer for me because, again, I am so excited about starting this brand new book with you guys, and I feel like I've just been so I mean, like, again, as I'm recording this, I've already started editing the first like half of this footage, and I look tired. I feel tired, but I look tired. And that's just the realistic view of being an indie author. And I think that that's not talked about nearly as much as it should be, because that's, again, like I said, that's just real life, that you're going to be tired. This is hard work, and this is a lot of stuff. And again, it's one thing if I was doing this completely full time, this was my full time job, I only had this, and I had no other obligations outside of that. This would be even this would still be tiring. Like, okay, time to get down. Again, I just work here with the cats. This would still be tiring. So I feel like that's not talked about nearly as much as it, again, should be, because we're so focused on the aesthetics. And I am guilty of this as well. I am so guilty of this because as soon as I see that pretty thumbnail pop up on my YouTube and I am in the mood to watch something from another author on here, I will click it so fast that my finger goes numb. Like, I am so guilty of it, that I love that content too. I love to see the aesthetic, the pretty stuff, the beautiful side of being an author. I like to see the positives, and as a person, I try to be positive. I try to be happy-go-lucky. I am not, I mean, I don't want to say I'm naturally a happy individual. I mean, I do have my issues, but like, I feel like for the most part, I'm a relatively happy individual on a consistent basis. But that's not always how life is going to be. That's not always how the camera is going to be. And I can't always pretend like that's not a factor, because, again, I'm a human being. I'm an author, and I love what I do, but I have so much on my plate. I have so much on my plate, including, again, I upload on here on YouTube once a week, and that takes time to figure out what I'm going to film, how I'm going to film it. I am not a person to be in front of the camera very often, which, again, ironic because I'm on YouTube now, but this is for my self-esteem, so I'm really making the push here. But I don't always feel like I look great on camera. Like right now, like as I'm filming this, I am kind of looking off to the side because I keep seeing my chin, and I'm really self-conscious about my chin after, the past 10 years, and my chin has gotten weird in this area. And I keep looking off screen because I keep noticing it. So, like, that's real life. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. And I know I'm long down the tangent highway, so just bear with me for a minute. I just have to spiel this out, and then we'll move on to the fun stuff, I guess, or move back to the fun stuff. But this is hard, and I wouldn't take it back for the world. I love this. I love what I do. I love writing books. I love it, and I love that I'm taking the time now. Even though it's hard, I love that I'm taking the time now to do this, because I can look back at, 10-year-old me who was at the Scholastic Book Fair. If anybody remembers, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I remember being 10 years old at the Scholastic Book Fair, and I'd walk around with my like $10 bill, $20 bill, whatever my parents would let me get, because they were fantastic and they were very encouraging of my reading. But walk around with my little, little wad of money or whatnot. And I was just so excited about how many books I could pile up on my how many books I could physically carry. I shouldn't say pile up, but how many books I could physically carry. Because if there was a book there that interested me and I had the money for it, I was buying it. And I remember being that 10-year-old kid walking around this book fair, just wondering and dreaming, like, what would it be like one day if this was my book? What would it feel like if I picked up this book and it was my name on the front of it? And it brings me so much joy now as an adult, almost, I'll be 34 in October, but as an almost 34-year-old, it brings me so much joy that I'm able to do this now. And I have the time, even though, again, it is hard and it is a stretch sometimes, but I have the time that I can work on this stuff and actually push forward. And I feel like I've been doing really great so far. Again, I started making this push towards the end of last year in 2024. I've got the pen name project coming out in November. Twisting Fates is on the pipeline. It's going to be, I'm hoping to have that edit done for story stuff done by the end of August. And then hopefully, don't hold me to it, but I'm hoping to have that out by spring of next year. And then I've got Project DD that I'm starting, and that's going to be the first book of 3 in an interconnected standalone series. So, like, looking back at that little kid, I'm so happy that I'm doing this. I'm so happy that I'm able to do this and that I have the, again, time, energy, resources, that kind of thing. Because not only is this hard and time consuming and exhausting, it's expensive. It can be really expensive. Like, the thing that I have in the background that I haven't really wanted to show you guys yet, and I'm not going to show you yet because I'm saving this for another video in the future, but I have a lot of really exciting stuff for marketing for Pen Name Project. Like, I'm putting together a PR box so that I can send it out to a couple of people, not too many because again, limited budget, but like, I had to buy all this stuff myself. And again, yes, I still have no idea what I'm doing with finances and business expenses. So that's just a whole other ball game that I have to figure out. But like, I have all this stuff, but like, it's expensive. Like, again, I will, in the video in the future where I talk more extensively with that stuff going on, I'll give you the exact running total, but probably between the PR and the actual author copies, because here's a spoiler for you guys. Indie authors, you have to order your own author copies. Depending on what platform you're using, I'm using Ingram Sparks for the paperback, and I'm using Amazon for the ebook. So if you are doing a paperback, you have to pay for your author copies. So you don't have to pay like the full retail price. So like, if you list the book as like $16.99, you're not paying the $16.99. You're basically just paying how much it costs to print the book. So not as much, but it's not cheap. Like, I think Pen Name Project was about $5 or $6 per copy, and I ordered like 50 copies. So like, it's not cheap. And again, I'm very, very blessed, and I'm very fortunate that I had the finances and I had saved up and I budgeted for this. So I knew going in what to expect. But like, this isn't cheap. This is not a cheap venture. And again, I'm still starting out. For the most part, I have the one book, but for the most part, I'm pretty much, starting from square one. So it's not cheap. And like, going into this, the expectation is that you're just going to instantly making money. And again, I'm going to I'll probably make a whole other video about a rant of what not to expect when coming into indie authoring and all that kind of stuff. And if that's even interesting to you guys, let me know in the comments. But it's expensive, it's time consuming, and I love every single minute of it. And I genuinely enjoy it. But sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel like turning on the camera. I don't, especially when you're doing all of this other stuff. Like, again, I've been working full time all day, dealing with the cats. My cat has had a particular stomach issue today, so have been having to clean that up. So like, it's been kind of a day. And like, the last thing I wanted to do was to pick up the camera and film myself, because I look like I have not showered today, but like, my hair is also difficult because like, it looks super greasy and it looks like I haven't showered in like a month, but like, I washed it yesterday, and that's just the way my hair is, so naturally greasy, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. So sometimes, yeah, I look in the camera and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and all these exciting things. And then I look to the right and I see my reflection, and it just, I'm not gonna lie, it just sometimes it gets me. It's something, going to be honest, it just sometimes gets me. And I know I've talked about how I'm hoping to build my self esteem a little bit more and talk more freely about that kind of thing and just to be a human and not feel so self conscious in front of the camera kind of thing. But I'm not there yet. Like that is me, like again, in my, what was it, the newbie indie author tag that I did, which plugged somewhere here. In that tag, the whole one of the whole things of this channel that I wanted to do was to build my self-esteem and to get everything kind of building up from there for that. And that's not going to be instantaneous as much as I wish. Oh my God, as much as I wish that was the case. That's not going to be an instantaneous thing. So there are good days and there are bad days. And sometimes, again, the entirety of this week, I have been like, I need to sit down and start recording this. And I literally have been holding off starting the first draft of this book because I was waiting to film so that I could like have something fun to do with you guys. And I, again, so glad I can do that. And I'm really excited to do it with you guys. But again, self-esteem wise, it's just not been my week. Not been my week. And again, just the overall exhaustion, dealing with a lot of other personal stuff at home, and just not anything bad. Let me preface that. Nothing bad is happening, but like just a lot of stuff going on. And it is hot. Oh my God. It is hot here in North Carolina. There is a heat wave that is just absolutely incessant. Like I think without the humidity, it's like 90, 95 without the humidity. With humidity, it is 110. So it's hot. So we're pretty limited in what we can do because nobody wants to go outside. I certainly don't want to go outside because I will wilt like a leaf. No, thank you. But it makes things pretty limited. So we're kind of in the house. We're kind of noodling around the house, getting stuff done, which is great for productivity. But at the same time, I can very easily burn myself out. And I have started to do that because I've just been working and working and working myself to death. It comes honestly. My parents are the same way. They're all everybody's a workaholic. Love them to pieces. They know they are. But like, I got it honestly. I will sit here and work on something, whether it's actual like full-time stuff, whether it's book stuff, whether it's marketing stuff, whether it's other projects I have going on. I will work on something from dawn till dusk, and I will not think twice about it because I enjoy all of it. I enjoy talking to you guys because I feel like this community so far from, again, I'm still new, but this community has been so nice and so welcoming. And you guys have all been so gracious with me. And I love it. And I love talking to you guys in the comments and just kind of interacting and getting to know you guys. And I love writing books. Like, again, this is my dream. I love doing all of this, but I'm starting to find that I'm pushing a little too hard, I think. And I think going forward, I need to reel it back just a bit. Just a bit. Not to say that I'm not going to be filming and not to say that I'm going to stop posting on YouTube. It's just more like I need to be a little bit more careful of how much time in an actual day I'm spending because, again, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm in my 30s. I don't have that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm an old person because I'm not, but like I don't have that kind of energy anymore. I don't have that like, oh, I'm just going to like what I used to do for a living. I was an IOM tech, which I'll maybe someday I'll talk more about that. But like that meant I was in the hospital a lot. I worked in an OR. I was in a sterile, cold environment for very long periods of time. And that was just miserable. It was not the setting for me. And I finally was able to get away from that. And I'm doing what I love to do. But because I made that shift when I was, I think, 28, 27, 28, when I made the shift from doing that to switching over to doing this. So like, I was almost 30 by the time I switched careers into this. And I don't want to say I wasted because I didn't waste, but like it felt like I wasted that time. So I'm retroactively trying to make up for all of the time I missed where I could have been pushing out more books and more of this, more of that. So I think going forward, I just need to be a little bit more realistic with my expectations of myself of like, okay, we're going to work on this, but then at this time we're going to stop and we're going to go touch grass. We're going to go touch grass for a little bit. So I know that was a really long tangent and I'm really sorry about it, but I needed to get that off my chest. So I thank you guys. If you've stuck around this long for that and you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you all being here for continuing on this journey with me. I'll give you a little bit of an update now that I've got that out of the way. I'll give you a little bit of an update on Project DDD from working on it today, and then we'll close out and I'll see you next week. But Project DDD1, I have started it. I was able to get all the scenes in place. So I was able to put all the scene cards and get all of the details on there, which I'm really happy about. I'm really enjoying having an outline going into this, a little bit more detailed than I did with Twisting Fates. And I'm hoping that going into this one, I won't have as many issues while writing. So that way, like, I'm not as stressed out. So having that outline and having each scene card in place without having it in like a chapter, because that was the other thing I did, was I just started immediately slotted everything into chapters, and then I ended up having to move stuff around, and it was really confusing. So I think having just like a basic board with just the scenes, have it written, and then after it is written, after I'm happy with where everything is for the first draft, then I'll put it in chapters and in folders for that. So I think this is going to be the winning combination for that. For actual writing, I was able to get, I think, 576 words, so off to a good start. My goal for having this draft done is the end of this year. So I'm hoping by December 31st of this year, I'm hoping to have this first draft done. It's a little bit ambitious. And again, given what I just said, that's very ambitious, but that is my current goal. I'm not going to be as strict about the goal. So it's like I have that goal, but like if I go past it, then that's just the way things are, because I am trying to like through each book discover what my process and what realistically I can get done. Because again, Tosca was out the window. I on and off for 8 years because again, I was working another job. Pen name project, I wasn't as serious about it, but I was like, I really wanted to write a book, but wasn't like trying to do this full time yet. So it took me about 2 years or so. And then Twisting Fates took me about 6 months, give or take. No, I think it was actually 5 months because I started in January. Anywhere from 5 to 6 months it took me to write that. And I'm hoping to slowly as I go and I get more comfortable writing and I get more of a feel for my writer's voice and that kind of thing and the process, that timeline naturally speeds up. But like on the first couple books here, I'm trying to not be so harsh with the deadline. So that way when it comes up, I'm like, okay, this was the deadline. I'm going past it, but let's see how long it takes me to go past it and then set some deadlines as I go. So this is a learning process for us all. So yay for that. So again, I apologize for the rant, but that is now officially the end of this video. And we have started Project DDD1, and I have a lot of exciting, I have a lot of exciting things I want to do with it and that I want you guys to do. I have a couple more challenge things that I've been trying to research on. So I thought that would be fun for us to do. So we could do some like challengey stuff. And again, as I mentioned before, I am considering and actually trying to figure out and plan to do live streaming. So I'm also trying to save a little bit of that. So like, while I do that, I can work on this whole thing during that, but we'll see on that. Yeah, so that is it for today's video, and I thank you all for being on this journey with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. So take care and have a good one, guys.